Greg Wade. This is my wife, Jera.
Started attending around the 2003, 2004 mark.
We started attending Christ Apostolic Church on the corner of Lincoln and Adams in 1963.
The first service that I attended at Christ Apostolic Church that I remember was Easter 2010.
I started attending Christ Apostolic Church May of 1952.
I started attending in 1964.
The Lord spoke to me and said, "This is what you're looking for. Never leave it."
I grew up in a Christian household for the most part. We're the type of Christians who we prayed in our home, we had Bibles in our home, but we didn't attend church routinely. We were the type where we would go on Easter or we would go on Christmas, but it wasn't a part of what we did on a weekly basis. And so my family had moved here from California. We were going through a lot of transitions, a lot of changes in all of our lives as individuals and as a family. And when we arrived in Michigan, my mom decided that it was time for us to not only call ourselves Christians, but it was time to go to church, and it was time to be a part of a church. What my mom decided she was going to do was she was going to crack open the phone book, and she decided that she was going to pick out a church that she felt was right in her spirit, and so that's what she did. She opened up the yellow pages and she found Christ Apostolic Church. She decided that's where we were going to come, and that's where my story begins.
We had some ladies that canvassed in our neighborhood that was from this church, and the ladies came and my mom opened the doors for them to come and talk about the Lord, and they began telling her scriptures about salvation. And my mom had many questions because Catholics did things a certain way, but she wanted to know more. And they were answering questions. She goes, "I believe that." We were able to come to the church. And my very first service was quite an experience. I had no idea that how the power of God would come down. People were crying, and I thought, this place is crazy. But I knew that it was different. And I did realize that they were all sincere in what they were doing.
Came to the Lord when I was 17 years old. I was raised in church. Had a really good upbringing, had a good mom and a good dad and a good home, and just didn't latch onto it. Really didn't even want to give my life to God until my teenage years. I got up to 17 and got into some pretty rough stuff that I knew I wasn't supposed to be involved in. A couple of instances that could have been life-threatening, and that really pushed me to seek the Lord. I started seeking the Lord then and said, if you're real, if you really want me to serve you, if all this stuff I was raised in is the right way, and open up a door for me to leave this area, to leave Albion, get away from all this just for a time. Or really I was open for whatever, but he opened that door, and I imagined maybe something horrible would have happened, but the Lord decided to bring me out 4/19/2001, and then ever since then he's had his hand on my life. I went there, and I remember when the Lord broke the chains, gave my life to God, and then to begin to really reach out when I was down there, went to different events and started giving my testimony, and I felt like it was time to come back here, come back to Albion. And then I met Sister Heather Everett, and Sharon. Well, I worked with Michelle at Hungry Howie's, and then she said, "Well, we're having a youth event at CAC. I want you to come." And then kind of the rest is history there. I met the youth here, got connected here, met my wife here. That's my wife now, was Michelle, and just got plugged in here. And it's just been an incredible time. The Lord's done many things.
We started attending Christ Apostolic Church on the corner of Lincoln and Adams in 1963. When I was 9, I prayed and said, "Lord, if you're real, if you're God, don't come before I find you." 3 years later, we were attending another church in this town. My mom started going, and at that time they had altar calls and prayed with people, and my mom got stammering lips, and they stopped her. Told her, "Okay, you're saved now, let's get baptized." My mom said no. So we went home, and she said, "Buster, get ready. We're going to church tonight." And he said, "I ain't going out there." And the next thing I know, she said, "No, we're going to Lincoln and Adams." So we went out for service at night. My dad went to the altar. My mom went to the altar. My dad laid his cigars on the altar. Now, mind you, he had been a chain smoker since he was 8. He laid them on the altar, and I knew then something was changing. And as I was praying with my dad, because I attended Sunday school in every church just about in the city, the Lord spoke to me and said, "This is what you're looking for. Never leave it." And I immediately remembered my 9-year-old prayer. I've never left. I don't ever intend to.
Well, our family always came here, so that was always my connection. Back when I was first born, I was 2 weeks old. Well, the church means, and always has been ever since I got saved. It's been my whole life. My life revolves around it, and it revolves around me. If it wasn't for the church, I wouldn't be here. And I know that, and everybody that knows me knows that.
I was a 16-year-old young man who was troubled, uprooted from his life in California, brought to a new state with no friends and what seemingly felt like what was the end of my life. I was desperate for something. I was hurting. I was broken. That's the season where God found me. When I needed him the most, that's where he found me, a junior in high school.
It's been such an atmosphere here for years. It's been a consistent atmosphere of truth and love and mercy. Such great leadership at this church is poured into myself and my family over the years. We are truly products of the great love and support at CAC here, and we're so thankful for this church. It just means everything to us. Without the church, I would not be here. I would not be here, and of course the prayers of my mom and intercessions from her. I thank God for CAC.
After we got married, about a year, we decided we wanted to have children. Turned out we couldn't. And for the next 3 years, we went to see every doctor, infertility specialists, praying and praying and praying for God to give us a child. And then on a particular service in September of 1988, Brother Trammell called us to the front. We had a special speaker that night. Brother George Pace from Kalamazoo was speaking. And him and Brother Trammell anointed us with oil and prayed over us to have a child. And I believe we were healed that day. 1 year later, September 21st, 1989, we held our little girl, Erin Jael, in our arms. That was an incredible thing, what the Lord did for us.
He's changed everything in my life. He's been a friend. He's been a counselor. He's been a lover of my soul. He's been everything to me. I don't know how anyone can live without him. He gets you through trials and tests and makes you know that you're going to survive.
I couldn't wait to get to church because I had been raised in a family that talked about God and different denominations and things. Went to Sunday school when I was a child, but I never understood anything. I always felt like there was a God. I knew that, but to know him. And I started praying that way. I started praying, I said, Lord, I know that you're God, and I know that you hear me. But I want to know for myself. I don't want somebody to tell me, because it don't last when that happens. Once that the Lord led me to the church, and Pastor Starr, my sisters in the church were praying for me, and God answered that prayer. He brought me to the church.
It means a lot to me. I know that if Christ Apostolic Church is here, that I can come to this place, I can find a friend, I can find someone who will pray with me, I can find godly people who have my best interest in mind and who just want to help me find God and serve God to the best of my ability. It's been prophesied that Christ Apostolic Church will be an epicenter of revival, that something big is coming, and it's going to start here.
Seeing souls saved, seeing this place grow to the point where we can't stay in this building. We just can't contain the people. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I'd like to see it grow. I'd like to see a growth in our church, getting back some of the people we have lost over the years that have, like in our youth group. I stay in contact with some of them, and I'd love to see them back.
We're a lighthouse to the city, and we need to hold on to our heritage. That part of the church growing even greater and deeper than ever before.
I know there are more Jared Mays out there that need to hear what I have to say, and I'm excited to see them come. I'm excited to see them part of the harvest and the revival that God has in store for this church and this area.
I'm praying for the new church that we're going to build, and praying God lets me live long enough to see it. I don't know. I'm 90 years old. He's given me 90 years. That's a long time.
But I'm excited for the revival. I'm excited to see people come in and experience God, the God who changed my life and completely changed everything for me. And I'm excited for people to have that same experience like I did.